Let's talk about pain science. I'm going to link to a pain science outline, which I think is one of the best I've heard. It's by Brian Trzaskos of the Somatic Coaching Academy. It's a podcast episode where he and Lani talk about pain science. It's really fascinating. I'm going to summarize it, and I'm going to use it as a justification for why I feel the Bulletproof Backs Method is far more impactful at getting people out of pain than traditional approaches. What pain is an output. It's not an input. So we think that when we hurt ourselves, we have pain signals come to our brain. We actually don't. What we have are noxious stimuli receptors or nociceptors, which pick up sensations in our tissues. And they feed that information along with things like temperature, pressure, and chemistry. All that information comes up to our brain. The brain is, I guess, like the CEO of the body. If you think about it, it can't see the outside world. It's relying on what's happening by the information it's being fed. As this information comes in, it gets filtered. It gets filtered by our thalamus. Our thalamus is all to do with our beliefs, our subconscious beliefs. It gets filtered by the amygdala, which is all to do with our limbic system and our emotions. It gets filtered by the hippocampus, which is all to do with our memory. Once all that information has been run through those filters, I like to think of them as the three wise men. They're standing there, or women, they're standing there. All this information is coming at them, and they get to make a judgment about whether this information is anything to be worried about or not. If those three package up the information and send it on to the neocortex, to the primary somatosensory part of the brain, as good or bad, then that part of the brain is what decides whether this stuff that's coming in, this information that's being received, is something to be worried about or not. Does it threaten our safety or are we okay? Now, here's the interesting thing. If the neocortex decides, based on the advice of those three wise men or women, that this sensory input is a threat, then it says we have pain. And then that's the output. The motor output is pain. We have pain. We feel pain. If that whole process in the brain, there's a decision that's made, you know what? This feels uncomfortable, but we're okay. And guess what? The output is this is uncomfortable, but we're okay. So I guess what I want you to understand about pain is that it's a sensation, and then it's how it's labeled by those different parts of our psyche that determines our experience of it. So if you have beliefs that are attached to this sensation that ramp it up and make it scary, then it will be pain. If you have emotions that are highly reactive to minor stimuli, then your amygdala is going to perceive this as threat. If you have memories of a partner, a grandmother, an experience of a colleague who has an awful back pain story and you're frightened, then guess what? There's a hot red alert triggered. Red alert, we're in trouble. We know this about pain. Pain science now, we know this. We understand it a little bit better, and I've completely butchered the explanation, but I think you get the picture. We have these three filters, and to me, they are our prime opportunity. Let's train our filters to be tuned towards safety and to minimizing threat rather than be amplifying every signal that comes in as a horrific, threatening response. If we can train our beliefs and regulate them and calm them and help us perceive things as less threatening, then that's going to help. If we can train our emotions to be more positive, but also to be okay with feeling the negative ones, if we can train our emotions to be fluid, but to intentionally work towards upregulation, then our biochemistry is improved and that helps our tissue healing response at the grassroots level. If we can look at embodied, stored emotions and trauma and memories, and we can become curious about them, we can learn about when our body decided something was harmful or not harmful, we have access to our classification system in our own brain. And to me, this explains why people can have really bad results, but they're not worried about it. They don't feel it. They literally, their whole structure is not worried. And it also explains why little stimulus, huge catastrophizing of a stimulus because of all these other parts of our psyche that are involved in the process and the pain experience. This effectively is called the biopsychosocial model, and it matters, but we know it matters through science. There's so many scientific papers demonstrating the efficacy of a biopsychosocial approach to back pain, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it in practice. And that's, I feel, why so many people are still struggling in pain. They're treating the physical and they're ignoring the thinking and the emotions and the memories and the trauma and the movement habits. So, yeah, the Bulletproof Backs methodology is about that. It's about, let's look at all of it. Let's look at how you're thinking about it. Let's look at how you're feeling about it. Let's look at any past trauma. Let's look at any past memories. Let's look at how you're moving. Let's look at all of it. Let's just not focus on massaging or needling or strengthening a few vertebrae that can be very helpful. And if it is for you, then you don't need to be here. This space in this channel is for people who that shit's not working for them. And I hope that's not you, but if it is you, I don't want you to give up hope. I want you to know, just step back and understand that your back, those vertebrae, live in an ecosystem of thinking and feeling and movement. And treating one part of us in isolation is just not effective most of the time. It can be sometimes, but if it's not, it's okay. Just step back and take a holistic approach. There's so many videos on this channel, mindset tips, emotional tips, movement tips. Just start playing, see which resonates, see which you're more curious about, and that could be the clue for you about the missing part. I hope that helps. Drop me a comment, like, share, do what you got to do, and yeah, please reach out to me. I like to know that some of what I'm creating is actually having an impact for people. If it's not, it's probably not much point doing it. If it is, then I'd love to hear about how some of this stuff might be landing for you. Take care.